But this is the hour in which we get to talk about Jesus unapologetically. I'm not saying sorry for it. We're going to talk about Jesus tonight. Trigger warning. We will be talking about Jesus, so if you don't like that, you can walk on out. Today, I'm going to talk about GTA every day. And anybody know what that means? What does that say?
I get arrested for
I've heard two things at the same time. Just that, Zoe. Yes.
grateful, thankful, and appreciative.
Yes. Very good. Where'd you learn that from?
Chief.
Chief. Yes. Cool guy Chief says grateful, thankful, appreciative. So he said we got to pull a GTA every day. And so we're going to talk about that, seeing as how today is the day after the official Thanks Day, which is Thanksgiving yesterday. On a scale of 1 to 10, anybody have a 8 to 10 Thanksgiving? Yes? Very good. I love it. Anybody have a 4 to 7 Thanksgiving? Yeah? Anybody have a 1 to 3 Thanksgiving? No? Oh, 1. Good. It was going to be at least 1. At least. It's inevitable that we're going to go through those days. What happens if you were listening to Mike's group before? Memories are the things that trigger us. So memories trigger to the emotions, trigger to who it is that we think we are, then we can start spiraling. So memories, unfortunately, are triggered by certain visual things, sometimes smells. Maybe you smelled a certain pie and all of a sudden it took you back, straight back to when you were a kid and maybe dad or mom yelled at you or something worse. And those types of things happen all the time. Well, in the same way that certain smells and things that we do make us really happy. There's certain things that really kind of put us in a space where we love our life. So it's inevitable, it's going to happen, it's going to continue to happen, but it would be sad if smells is what took us out. It would be sad that little things like this, little triggers like this would be able to push us to a space in which we decide, you know what, I feel like giving up my whole entire life because of a smell. And so what we're doing more than anything is realizing that these smells are okay, these memories are fine, they could be bad, they could be good, but we're trying to look at them and say, you know what, they happen. Like a movie, they happen, but they're not today. And so if we can continue to do that, I think that we can, lead in a direction that's going to work out for us in the long run. We can actually survive another day at least. And I think part of that survival has everything to do with gratitude. Now, Thanksgiving is a day that everybody understands. Everybody gets asked at least once in that day, what are you thankful for? I think it's a long, drawn question, but I'm asking it anyway. What are you thankful for? Anybody want to tell me what they are thankful for? Yeah, a lot of practice yesterday, so don't think that you have nothing. You can copy-paste whatever answer you said. Yes?
Thankful for God being in my life.
Thankful for God being in our life. I'm very thankful for that as well. Thank you. Yes?
Thankful for the struggle.
Thankful for the struggle. Yes, the struggle teaches us a thing or two, doesn't it? Yes?
Me?
Yeah, you.
The relationships I made this year at my not just, but
Yeah.
relationships.
All the friendships and all the connections that we end up making in the past year, some of them are still here, some of them are not, but that's okay. At the end of the day, it helped me out. I learned I had some relationships that I didn't like, and those helped me out in the same way that the relationships I loved absolutely helped me out as well, so I think I'm grateful for that as well. Yes, Zoe?
I'm just thankful that no matter how many times we stray away, we try to hide from God, He's still going to love us no matter what.
Yeah.
And He knows that we're going to come back when we're on our own, when we're ready. And so that brings me to, I'm just grateful to have a place like this that we can study more and learn more about.
Very good. I like that. Yes. God's consistency blows my mind because I am just so inconsistent. So when it happens, I'm just like, what? There's somebody consistent? Can't find that. Chief has a saying, which is, everyone is a flake. He hasn't said that recently. I think he's trying to not hurt feelings as much these days. But when he said it to me, when I first got here about 6-7 years ago, it stuck because I was like, excuse me, not everybody's a flake. I'm consistent. And then didn't show up the next time that we were supposed to have it. So it's the ones like that where it's like, man, I think you might have some wisdom. I think everybody's a flake. So when we find consistency in God, I think it puts us in a space to be like, that's pretty cool. I think that I like consistency. Yes?
Thankful that I put the abuse away and I'm continuing to be a lady and be kind to people.
Nice. I like that. A little taming going on in life, just like, come on now. Hold down the leash and say, you don't get to act out today. And away and be a lady. I like that. Your word. Yes?
I'm thankful for the family that God blessed me with, blood and not blood, and the support that I have today.
Yes, absolutely. We're so thankful for the family that it is we get to have. A lot of people don't have their family around. The fact of the matter is that we choose our family. That's a fact. The people that it is that we're closest to, those are the people that you stick with. You don't get to choose your blood family. That just happens. You know? And you don't make a contract with your blood family. It's just, you're just stuck with us. Great. But when it comes down to being able to connect with people that are put in our lives, be able to connect with them, to make a choice. I want you. I want you in my life. I like that you're a part of doing the things that we're doing. And there's something deep about that. I like this a lot. So I agree with that. Yes, sir.
Thankful for my addiction.
Yes. Once again, the struggles it is we go through, and also the things that we learn in those spaces, it pushes us into spaces that most people have not been in. They cannot understand the directions that you're going and what you're grateful for and all the things that you've learned and all the characteristics that you've built for yourself until you've gone through a certain amount of things. Last one here, yes.
I'm thankful for my mom, having my kids so that I can be here, doing what I'm doing.
Yes. Moms are cool. I have a mom. Sometimes she's really annoying, but yeah, she's cool.
Yeah, she's cool.
And I bring her here. She's here too. So I say that unapologetically. You tell her I told her that. Yeah, I told her to her face. But yeah, I'm grateful for my mother as well. It's nice to have family and be able to connect with her. I think it's awesome. So whenever we ask this question, again, this seems to be something that comes up about once a year, at least consistently. But in this circle, I found it to be, it comes out a lot more. Anybody's ever told that, you know what you gotta do is you gotta make a grateful list in the morning, a gratitude list, right? There's a lot of people that are inside treatment, a lot of people inside of our world here that talk about gratitude all the time. And we come to find out that gratitude is actually a really big deal. But just recently, somebody had brought to my attention that thankfulness and gratitude might be two separate things, as words. And Mike was talking about this earlier as well, that we're really good, I'm really good at talking about words and how it is they crash and how it is how you use them and what's the better word for this case scenario. All these different things that kind of come up. But words are, about back and forth. So somebody brought up to me that there's a difference between both those words. And so I want to kind of jump into that. But first person I want to be able to invite into this circle is, of course, a quote from Chief himself, in case you didn't know what a GTA was in this circle. Chief says, I pull a GTA every day. I'm grateful, thankful, and appreciative. This man says this all the time. He says, I have to do this every single day. Every day. And when he says this, people repeat it, right? They're following along with the words that he says, and we're saying it like, ha-ha. But then we don't pull the GTA every day. We know it, but, we have a hard time being able to practice it, which is just to say that, easier said than done. But at the end of the day, this is still, I find to be an absolute truth. It's right here. For me to be able to survive in the day, I have to pull a GTA. And I want to talk about the reason why. Tonight I want to talk about why it's important that Thanksgiving doesn't land on our day, but this idea of thanks is every single day. Let's chop up two words here. In the dictionary, you'll find that the word thankful means pleased and relieved. Pleased and relieved. That means that you're like, thanks. Somebody leaves the door open for you, you say, thanks. And you walk through the door, and you never see that person ever again. Thankfulness is being able to have a feeling for something. Somebody passes you something, somebody does something for you, something happens, you feel thankful. Thanks. Thanks. Sure enough, this feeling actually ends up happening a lot when you ask people, hey, what are you thankful for? They usually go to this. They're talking about what they feel, that feeling of being pleased or relieved. It's like, what are you thankful for? I'm thankful for this rehab that I'm in, and I work over at Liftoff. I'm thankful for Liftoff. It's like, that's awesome. It's a feeling, and the feeling is that they're pleased and relieved that they're in a rehab and they're, were just dying last week, and this week they're alive, and they're over here, they sound thankful for Liftoff. And those types of things are important. It's a feeling that comes in. But it leads you to ask, well, if thankful means pleased and relieved, what is gratitude? Gratitude happens to have a definition that says the quality of being thankful, readiness to show appreciation for and to return kindness. It's way more fleshed out, right? There seems to be a very clear difference between this word, gratitude, and thankfulness. Remember, thankfulness is pleased and relieved. That's a feeling, right? Okay, agree? It's a feeling. I feel pleased. I feel relieved. I'm thankful. Versus, gratitude happens to be a full-blown action word. The quality of being thankful, readiness to show appreciation for and to return kindness. That's a full-blown action. It's almost as if thankful is the feeling and gratitude is the doing, right? So when we get asked the question, what are you thankful for? And we answer with something which has to do with the feeling, I'm really glad that I'm here with all of you guys. I'm thankful for that. I'm thankful to be here. And then tomorrow you can't stand half the crew that's inside of here. That actually makes sense to me. What you showed was thankfulness. You showed an emotion today. You said, I'm thankful for God, and I'm thankful for that fact that I'm alive today. I think you're right. I think you feel that today. But tomorrow I can't guarantee you're going to feel that. Because tomorrow you might wake up feeling, why am I alive? I can't stand my life. How come God doesn't give me a pile of money and change all my issues that I got going on? But the thankfulness happens to be more prevalent than gratitude. Gratitude is something that is, I would say, a skill. Something that requires a practice, because if all action is a skill, if you can get good at it, well, then gratitude falls right in that line. Yes, sir?
So I think being thankful is the foundation on which gratitude can become. I can't show gratitude without being thankful for something. Right? So Trina cooked yesterday. I was thankful for how I show her the gratitude. I reached out to her and sent her a message on how much it made me happy.
So now we're going to chop into a deeper word than this, okay? Because the fact of the matter is that this word thankful, grateful, or gratitude, you go in the Bible, you'll find the word thankful a lot. You'll find thanksgiving, you'll find thanks, you'll find giving thanks, you'll find this word thankful all over it. If you look up gratitude, you will not find it. The word gratitude does not exist in the Bible. It's not there. And if you do find it, it's in one passage in Jonah, the book of Jonah in the Old Testament. If you look into what that word specifically means, it actually means to rejoice. It means to just be happy. And so the word gratitude, this action in thanksgiving, actually doesn't exist in the Bible. Which is to say that the word thanksgiving covers both. So when you read the word thanksgiving, that actually doesn't mean, oh, you just have a feeling. No. In the Bible, it means, no, you do both at the same time. You're not capable of doing one without the other. The word here is eucharistia. Eucharistia. It means gratitude, actively grateful language to God as an act of worship. And these are the 15 times it's used in the New Testament.
Charlie, is that real cool?
Yeah, we knew it. You gotta give it up, Charlie. You gotta give it up. This word for thankfulness, you're going to see it 15 times in the New Testament. 9 times as the word thanksgiving, 3 times as giving thanks, 2 times as thanks, and 1 time as thankfulness. This word right here, eucharistia, that's the word they use for thanksgiving. And this word right here is not a feeling. This word is tied into the action. There is no such thing as being thankful to God without an action. Let me show you an example of this word in action here. It says, this is Paul writing to the Corinthians, second letter here. It says, for all things are for your sakes. He's talking about what him and the disciples are doing for them. For your sakes, that grace, having spread through the many, may cause thanksgiving to abound in the glory of God. The things that we do may cause thanksgiving. It will cause this thing that will happen, a chain effect, a chain reaction. So this thanksgiving word is the same word that I just mentioned now. And this is where it's used practically in the Bible. Well, when we think of Thanksgiving, again, it's a feeling, but when the Bible talks about Thanksgiving, it's actually talking about sacrifice. And sacrifice is something that God actually likes a lot. God loves sacrifice. And how we understand sacrifice has kind of changed over time. How God is trying to get us to understand sacrifice has changed, but it's been the same since the beginning. But He loves thankfulness and sacrifice itself, and specifically sacrifice in action. And the reason why I have to bring that up is because the word sacrifice can either mean, in the Old Testament especially, sorry, or it means sacrifice as a gift. I sinned, therefore kill an animal and sacrifice, and I'm sorry. I'm sorry that I did that as a sacrifice for my sins. It's a sorry sacrifice. It's a very common one, big one. But the other one is the sacrifice as a gift. Here's a sacrifice as a gift to you out of worship. Just making it clear, we're not talking about this one tonight. We're talking about this one. The gift one, okay? Because I don't want to be smart Alex coming in and saying stuff like, isn't obedience better than sacrifice? Not talking about that sacrifice. Yes, you must be obedient. It's better than saying sorry. I did the thing you asked me to do. It's better than saying sorry. I'd rather just do it. My mom used to say it all to me all the time. Stop saying sorry, just change it. God feels the same way. Stop saying sorry and just change it. Just be obedient. So again, we're not talking about this. Clear? Right. We're talking about the gift one. We're talking about the sacrifice. It says it's giving, gift giving. I'm thankful. I'm worshiping. This is different. So let me show you what this looks like in the Old Testament. Right here in Leviticus 7, 11, and 14, it says, "These are the regulations for the fellowship offering anyone may present to the Lord." Now, this is by this point, it's offering this multi-regulation list of how we're going to be worshiping God, how we're going to be taking care of each other, how we're going to be doing all kinds of things to stay away from and embrace all these different things. You'll find crazy things in here, like stoning people for cheating on their husbands. And so when you look in here, it says, if they offer it as an expression of thankfulness, talking about the sacrifice, which is a blood sacrifice, if they're offering it as an expression of thankfulness, then along with this thank offering, they are to offer thick loaves made without yeast and with olive oil mixed in, thin loaves made without yeast and brushed with oil, and thick loaves of the finest flour, well kneaded, and with oil mixed in. Along with their fellowship offering of thanksgiving, they are to present an offering with thick loaves of bread made with yeast. They are to bring one of each kind as an offering, a contribution to the Lord. It belongs to the priest who splashes the blood of the fellowship offering against the altar. Relatively complicated, but this is what God was asking for at this time. It was a bunch of stuff, a lot of bread. A lot of bread, along with some sacrifice of an animal of some sort, and sprinkling of the blood, and all kinds of things at the altar and the tabernacle or the temple. All kinds of things going on with this. So this was, if you wanted to say thank you, God, you're bringing your goat, your lamb, whatever it is that you got going on, you're bringing some bread, and you're coming in with the oil and everything, and you're saying, here you go, priest, this is what it is that I got, because I want to say thanks to God. Priest takes it in. Eventually you'll give it to people that are eating inside there as well. Sacrifice the animal, sprinkle the blood over the altar, and say, and God, this is for the thanks that it is that we're given today from this specific person that all grew. Well, it's very interesting, because this idea of gratefulness requires the action, right? You wanted to say thank you, you just didn't say thanks and moved on with your life. You did something. You sacrificed something. You brought something to the altar. You brought something to God. It was an action. So once again, there is no divide of thankfulness and gratefulness. Both of them are the same thing. Oh, you're thankful. Do something about it. In the same way that somebody would argue and talk about, and this happens often enough, love is a action word, right? Everybody seems to know this very well. So that means that you can say it as much as you want. I ain't budging until I see some work. I ain't going to believe anything you're going to say until I see some action behind it. So the words themselves don't hold as much weight. And in the same way that thankfulness does not hold so much weight until some action is behind it, you can see a long, strenuous way of being able to thank God. Relatively complicated. I'm very happy to be in the New Testament and a Gentile. Showing gratefulness to God. These are the two pieces that we see how we show gratefulness. Obviously, like we just discussed, it is before Christ. In the Old Testament, there's the way that it is that we connect to God. You bring a specific thing to the temple for the priest to offer directly to God. That was how it was before Christ. Well, we are in the after Christ. And after Christ is a little bit different. You give something valuable to someone who needs it. I find this to be ridiculously interesting. Because at one point, it's a very specific thing, getting into a practice of doing something. Getting into a practice of, what do I do? Thankfulness. I'm thankful, I got to do this thing, good. Do this thing, good. It's almost like what you're doing is getting yourself into a routine. When you get yourself into a routine, it's not about the thing as much as it is that you get yourself in the habit of doing it. She talks about this when you read the Bible. I want to start reading the Bible. He says, you know what, how about you just put the Bible next to your nightstand, and every morning you get up and you touch it. It's good enough. Every morning you touch it. And then after a while you feel brave, you open it. Just do that every morning. Just open it. You don't read it. Just open it. You feel more brave as time goes on. Maybe you read a scripture. Maybe you read a couple scriptures. Maybe you read a chapter. Then you get to a space where you finally get used to it. See, now, the discipline is that me and Bible are going to exist today. And that's the point, is that I need to get into that routine. What ends up happening is that I overwhelm myself and say, I need to start reading a chapter a day or a book a day or whatever it is, and then you fail. And you're like, this is really boring and hard, and I don't understand what's happening in here, and I'm feeling intimidated, and now I feel like I want to just give up on everything. Those types of things happen often. It's the same reason as to why we're right around the corner from New Year's and people are like, I'm going to start losing weight January 1st. And everybody gets a gym pass, and then 2 weeks in, maybe a month in, if you're real serious, you give up. And once you get in that space, you're like, you're still paying for the gym pass. You're not going to give up on it because it means you're giving up on yourself. So you're just like, no, I'm going to go back. I'm going to get back in there. And it just got busy. In the same way, it was not necessarily important that you got into the gym and hit every machine in there every day, the first day, and not really lead yourself into it. What was important is that you got into a discipline. It's a discipline that I tell people when they want to start working out. It's like, start working out at home. Don't pay for working out. That's weird. Stay at home, run in place for like 10 minutes. If you can do that, you're good. You start at 2 minutes, start at go to 5 minutes, and then you eventually get to a space. And once you get into the routine, is that I work out when I get up. Very good. Now, eventually, it'll turn into something much bigger than that. I feel like this is what's happening here. I feel like God is getting to a space inside. I just need you to get into the routine. That when I feel a certain way of thankfulness about something, that I'm going to do something about it. This specific thing is very specific, and it ends up changing after time. It happened at a very specific time frame. And because it happened at a very specific time frame, it was inevitable that he was going to change it. And the way that he changed it is he brought in Christ, and he said, all right, we're going to change up this whole entire idea of thankfulness and how it is you show. Break down the temple entirely. No more temple. How do you get to God? Through the temple. Wrong. Break down the temple entirely. You don't get to God through the temple. You get to God through Jesus Christ. But what does that mean? The teachings of Jesus Christ is to love people, to accept people, to be able to believe that he has the ultimate power over everything, that he was God himself. So if that's the case, no more tabernacle. That means that no more priests. Who is the high priest? It's Jesus Christ. So now that Jesus is the high priest, you don't need a temple anymore. That means you come to me with your sacrifices. That means you come to me with your praises. That means you come to me when you're trying to talk directly to God, because I am God. By that point, he says, you don't need a building anymore. Thank God. Right? That's why you can wake up in the morning. Thanks God for this cozy bed and the fact that I'm going to fall back to sleep right now. That's why you can do that. Instead of having to get up, put on your pajamas, and go over to the temple. You imagine present day, God, if you didn't change things, you go to the temple and you're got your meat all cut up already. You're just walking with your pajamas on and everything, and you just give it to the priest, and you're sitting there all cold. Can you read this up? And what else do you need? I feel like that's what it would be like. God's like, yeah, that's kind of low level stuff anyway. Because I need you to understand the point of this. I need you to understand what sacrifice and thankfulness means together. And so he comes to a place and say, you know what? We're going to change this up. Seeing as how you're going to bring it to me, I want you to do with the sacrifice, because I don't need it. I physically will do nothing with it. I need you to take that sacrifice of thankfulness to somebody who does need it. Right. I need you to take that action to somebody who needs it, because I don't. You cannot pay me back. That's not what's happening. I need you to take it to somebody who needs it, because that's what I would do. In fact, that's what I did. When I was here on earth, I was taking care of those who needed help. Who said, Jesus, I need some help. Sounds good. I will help you. And what he was doing, as a good leader does, not as a boss, as a good leader shows you what he's going to do and says, this is how you do it. Got it? All right, good. I can walk away from this now. And then he began to do that. To multiply, not addition. He wasn't trying to add people to himself. He knew that he was going to be able to go, and he wanted to get other people to do it. So, before Christ's gratefulness was, you bring a specific thing to the temple for the priest to offer directly to God. Somewhat complicated, but there we are. After Christ, give something valuable to someone who needs it. If you ask me, the harder of the two is this one. This one's easy. What do you need? Sounds good. I'll stock up on that stuff. I have a whole entire barn full of animals to sacrifice and bread and all this stuff. I'll get it on lock. I'll make a machine that can make this stuff on a dime. So whenever I'm feeling thankful, I'm thankful this. Get a little of this and all that, and just get my stuff ready to go. That's easy. After Jesus messed everything up, he came in and said, "I need you to understand a little deeper. Let's go deeper with this. You're a little too surface level for me. Let's get a little deeper than this, because I want a connection with you. I want your heart and your mind to be part of this whole entire process. Let's get deeper. I want to show you what it is that I do. I want to show you what it is that I do, and I want you to kind of take over for me. I want you to take over the family business. Family business is that we take care of people. So, after Christ, it's something valuable to someone who needs it. Right here in Acts 9, 1 through 5, give an example as to what this might look like. Saul, who ended up becoming Paul, who wrote half your New Testament, at this time, this is before he became a Christian, before he started believing in Jesus Christ, and he was walking around and he was seeking to murder other Christians. Very interesting. This guy who wrote half your Bible used to kill Christians, which is mind-boggling, which tells you that God will use anybody to get anything things done. That's encouraging for a lot of us in here. But that's what the background for the story is. He's like on a run. He's like, I'm getting actually pretty good killing Christians, so like I'm like excited about it. He was like the best of the best. He would go to his officials to ask them, hey, can you let me go to this town so I can get some more Christians, round them up and everything? And they're like, yeah, sure, you weirdo, go ahead, go for it. And I think that's exactly what's happening here. And this is the point where he converts. He has one vision. It says, then Saul still breathing threats and murder against the disciples. Against who? The disciples. Okay? You notice it here, it wasn't against Jesus. Jesus is dead to him. It was to the disciples. Okay? Very important. Of the Lord. Went to the high priest and asked letters from them to the synagogues of Damascus, so that if he found any who were of the way, or the Jesus way, whether men or women, he's an equal opportunist, he might bring them bound to Jerusalem. He wants to go to Damascus, have a letter saying it's okay. He'll go there, round up men and women, and drag them back to Jerusalem so they can murder them. That's what he wants to do. He's making a whole entire thing out of it. It wasn't just some like, hey, can I just, beat him up when I see him, He's like, no, I want to do the whole thing. Like, I want to bring him on trial, and humiliate them, and murder. I want to do the whole thing. So he's committed. This guy is the type. That's why when you read his letters, it's like, he seems kind of like harsh. Like every time he talks about Jesus, and he's like, it's kind of much, bro. And I think the reason why is because that's how he is. He's like 10 all the time. This reminds me heavily, side note, reminds me heavily of people that were in active addiction, how 10 they were about everything. Yeah. And when Jesus gets a hold of you, man, you go 10 on Jesus. When I see that thing happen, it's like that's a Paul story, 100%. Because you go 10 on everything. So when you want to know how to really take into this Jesus thing, I don't know, are you going 10 in on it? Man, you're 10 in on everything else. You see a boy or a girl, like, I'm going 10 in on that. Can you do that with Jesus Christ? That's the way to measure that. Anyway, excited. As he journeyed, he came near Damascus, where he's going, and suddenly a light shone around him from heaven, from the sky. Then he fell on the ground and heard a voice saying to him, Saul, Saul, why are you persecuting me? And Saul said, who are you, Lord? At this point, he doesn't know who this person is. All he knows is that, because it's not common, okay? Like, this is, I can think of a million reasons as to why there's a light in the sky coming down on me and speaking to me. It could be the helicopter police. Like, when you think about stuff like that, in this day and age, we gotta get over that kind of stuff, We're not easily swayed by those things. There's too many special effects, if you would. At this time, it's not happening. Walking, bright light, this voice, Saul, why are you persecuting me? This is a good question to Saul. Because by this point, he's like, I've never persecuted a man from the sky. You don't see me walking around saying, hey, can I take in the guy from the sky and take him into the prison so we can beat him down? I'm not doing that. That's no way. That's why he asked this question. Who am I persecuting? What are you talking about? I'm after these heathens. I'm after these blasphemers, these Christians, whatever it is that they think that they are. I'm after those guys because they're against God. Well, who are you? Whoever it is, you're definitely God or a God. So he's kind of awkward in this exchange, but he's asking the question, who are you, Lord? And the Lord said, I am Jesus whom you are persecuting. Why are you persecuting me? Why are you persecuting Jesus? Paul's never met Jesus in his life by this point. Why would he ask this question? Jesus himself, why are you persecuting me? Never met this person. I'm going to lock this in with this other scripture here to kind of give you the full idea of what this means. Matthew 25, 34, 40. That's when Jesus was still on earth. And it says, he's giving this parable. And he says, then the king will say to those on his right, come, you who are blessed by my Father, inherit the kingdom prepared for you from the creation of the world. For I was hungry and you fed me. I was thirsty and you gave me drink. I was a stranger and you invited me into your home. I was naked and you gave me clothing. I was sick and you cared for me. I was in prison and you visited me. Then the righteous ones, these people that he's talking to, and the labels of the righteous ones, will reply, Lord, When did we ever see you hungry and feed you? Or thirsty and give you something to drink? Or a stranger and show you hospitality? Or naked and give you clothing? When did we ever see you sick or in prison and visit you? When did this happen? Because I never saw you. I never did that. What are you talking about? I took care of you. I took care of you? How is that possible? Jesus' response is, and the king will say, I tell you the truth, when you did it to one of the least of these, my brothers and sisters, you are doing it to me. Both these scriptures, you see that when you persecute those who are broken, those who are trying, those who want to find love and find God, when you persecute them, you're persecuting God. You're making fun of them, not being in a space when you understand, kicking them when they're down, they're coming in and they throw a tantrum because emotionally speaking, they're all over the place, and you're beating them down and they're trying, you're persecuting God at that point. And that's the way that God, did I make that up? Did I not read it from a 2,000-year-old book? Did I make this up? And in the same light, on the opposite direction, when you take care of those people, you are taking care of God. The idea of gratefulness and action, which the question should come up, where do I put the sacrifice? I have gratefulness. I want to sacrifice. I want to be and make it an action. Where do I give it? God, where are you? And what is he saying? I'm in my people. I'm in my children. If you want to help me, if you want to give something to me, if you want to offer gratefulness and thankfulness, your sacrifices come to them, to the broken, to the brothers and sisters, to those who say, I believe in God. I believe in Christ like you do. I'm just having a really hard time. And there's a lot of them out there. A lot. In fact, some of us in here would be in the same space. Really speaking, we're not going to a place to do this anymore. It's not in a building. It's not in a church. These are just buildings. We are the church, and therefore it is up to us to be able to bring God with us and to be able to take care of God from those that are broken.
Well said.
So, thank you. When we get into that space when we're trying to be thankful, remember, thankful and grateful, same thing, action, right? I want to be grateful. How do I show God gratefulness? You take care of his people. You take care of the broken, those who are in need. Thankfulness to God is put in the laps of the broken children. Okay? So whenever you're thinking about thankfulness, what is thankful? How do I show thankfulness? It's put into the laps of the broken children. Children of God, those who are lost, those who are open to those are the ones that you put the thankfulness to. So the second you're feeling thankful, grateful, you better beeline to somebody who's broken. Be like, hey, I'm trying to show some gratefulness. Can I help you? Is there anything that I can do for you? The question for you guys. What would be a sacrifice for you? Talk about sacrifice for a second here. Value, sacrifice. What would be a sacrifice for you, knowing that you're going to be able to provide for somebody who needs something? Yes?
Comfort.
Comfort. Beautiful. There are people out there that just need a shoulder to cry. And all you need to do is not give them a solution. All you need to do is be able to say, they're there. You can cry on me. I'll be there for your comfort. Very good. Yes?
It was told to me one day, God will never give you anything that you covet more than a relationship with him. And for me, that was relationships. So something that I could give is my desire to be closer to him,
Good.
as opposed to a female.
Oh, yeah. Being able to shift the mindset from all of my love will go into this romantic relationship to maybe not all of it. Maybe a lot of it can go to God, and she can get the leftovers. So, yes?
Understanding and like empathy that some people go through things and not to be so sensitive. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like just having empathy and that, you know, people come around and people go through things, so don't be so sensitive.
Yes. I love it. Understanding.
Yeah.
The ability to be able to meet people mentally where they're at. That's hard.
Yeah,
That's a difficult thing to do. That requires for you to put you back burner real quick.
Yeah.
Listen and understand what they're saying and not try to jump to solutions ASAP. Just try to understand. The solutions will come.
Yeah.
Sit there and understand somebody. That requires a lot of time. I like that. Very good. Mike.
My time.
Time. Yes. Oh, preaching the choir here. My time is so precious to me. Every single minute, so precious to me. That for me to sacrifice my time is a legitimate sacrifice. That is me killing 1,000,000 goats For me, time is a big one. So when I give it to somebody, it's a big deal. It's the reason that's why I get irritated with people that are not there on time, who decide to just skip out on the plans. I can't stand that, because you're like, you have no idea what I did. I carved out time for you. And you said, you're just an option. Excuse me? You were not an option. You were in my calendar. And you decided to bail on me? My time is very valuable. That's the reason why it ends up turning into a sacrifice. So when somebody comes up to me and says, hey, can you talk? You have no idea what goes through my head. Goes through my head is like,
I really need to be here.
I don't want to talk. One, emotionally speaking, no, I don't want to talk. Two, I have another thing to be going to right now, which could possibly be my bed, to sleep. Or three, I don't want to hear the story again. This is the fourth time. I don't want to talk about it. So when somebody asks that question to me, do you have time to talk? The answer immediately is no, I don't. For multiple reasons. Find somebody else. That's why it's a sacrifice for me to say, yes, I do have the time to talk to you about the same thing. Let's take a seat and hash this out. I agree. I 100%. Thank you for bringing that up. Somebody had to. Yes, sir.
About sacrificing, giving up drugs out of your life and seeking God.
I love that one. I love that one actually a lot. And the reason why is because most people won't go to this space. The space is that you don't. A lot of people don't understand this, but who you are affects everybody that you're around. It doesn't matter if it's negative or positive. You will be affecting people around you. So, in your addiction or in whatever it is that you're like flailing around with and hurting people around you, that is going to affect people. In the same way that if you were to get better and not do that anymore, you gotta realize people have normalized the fact that you're flailing around all the time. They normalize that. They normalize, and then when Angela comes over, she's going to be like, and it's like, oh my God, you just gotta like mentally prepare. Like, you are the reason why they don't like Christmas. It becomes that very quickly. So when you're that long enough and they mentally prepare themselves with all the anxiety and they're taking pills and they're drinking and like, all right, I just gotta get ready for the night. Angela's just gonna drive me up the wall. Why can't you just get her life together? Those types of things are going through their head. The second you change that around and they're like coming in ready and all you did was give them a hug and you said it's good to see you and they're like, oh, you look different. You like, you all right? Like, is it today's the day? You know, you're gonna kill everybody? And I'm just like, no, I feel great. God's been doing a big thing in my life, and I'm changing my life, and I'm doing some different things. You don't understand that right there, you sacrificed yourself for everybody else. That is a Jesus thing, and this is the reason why I cannot stress it enough. People in addiction, specifically in recovery, those people I put on such a high pedestal. It's the only reason why I'm standing here where I am today. I've shared this before. I'm as normal as you can get. I've never tried a drug in my life. I've never done a cigarette. Never did some weeds. I've never done anything like that in my life. I've only had 5 sips of alcohol to find out that I don't like alcohol. So for me, I'm in a space in which this is not a circle for me. I don't need anything from you guys. Are you crazy? This circle is what pushed me to be where I am today. It's because it's inspiring to see people struggle and then say, I'm looking for a solution and I don't care how I get it. That to me was ultimate sacrifice. That was picking up your cross and dying to yourself. That's why for myself, when I see that, and thank you for bringing that up, when you're able to work at your addiction and become healthy and get to a space where you have a clear mind, you can actually be in charge of where you're going and what you're doing, you really are making a huge change around you. Because by that point, it's never just you got sober. Because if you're white knuckling it, then good luck. If you just got sober, it's not really, it's helpful because now people can be like less tense around you. But if you go into full-blown recovery and you're actually seeking to change character defects, it's not just staying sober anymore. After that, you're like, I actually go up to people and tell them, hi, how are you doing? I go up to people and say, are you okay? I go up to people and I help them out and I take them places and I do things with people because I care now. That is not just being sober. That's beyond that. Being able to work on addiction and get into recovery, that changes a lot. That's a huge piece of sacrifice. Again, sacrifice of self to the benefit of other people, yeah.
The reason I brought that up is because I was thinking, it's not actually something we need. So now we would view that, like, it's not something we need. So we should have it out of our life anyway.
Yeah.
But now I see it when you say how much it helps other people and how much you're going to become someone to help everybody.
That's right. And this is not exclusive to addicts. This is for people that have anger issues. These are people that are codependent. These are people that are all over the map that cannot control what is going on in themselves. And they make a huge mess of themselves around everybody else. Yeah. So if you're mad, crazy uncle, stop being mad and crazy. It would benefit everybody else. And it's that same concept. It's being able to notice that I can change and do something, sacrificing a part of myself to be able to go forward and do something different. That's a huge deal.
Awesome answer.
To be able to sacrifice that, I think it's great. Yes, Charlie?
Yes, I think I found in the hardest, toughest job I have being sober in life these days is doing what I need to do and not what I want to do.
Oh yeah, you're preaching to the choir, buddy. Being able to get up in the morning and you have to go to work. I got like 3 sick days. You know? I can like not go to work. That'd be nice. But the fact of the matter is that it's not just need because I need a paycheck. It's also like they need me. Like they count on me. Like that's a big deal for myself. It's not about wants. It's about needs. And then eventually, hopefully, your needs become your wants. Hopefully, what ends up happening is that the things that you need to do end up becoming, I want to do that. And then the next thing after that is to be happy about doing it. Suffer with joy. I'm suffering when I go to work. When you have joy on top of that, because you do what you have to do, but then you have joy on top of that, that's the ultimate goal, to be able to get into that space. Did you have something, brother?
Yeah.
Please.
People are so self-absorbed
Yeah.
and ego-driven, and I'm selfish. Very selfish.
Yeah.
And even after getting sober, I'm still selfish. I still wake up and struggle with defects. I walked in angry.
Yeah.
But the energy is there. It's invisible, but it's there. And I took everything that was on the outside, just turned it off because God's in here. We're definitely from here to us, and then all things godly thoughts.
That's right.
So godly thoughts would be feeding the homeless.
Yeah, absolutely. Being able to go into a space in which you're capable of turning those things off, that's also a sacrifice. Sacrifice the natural self. I want to do what it is that I want to do, which brings me to this. The opposite of all sacrifices is service. All sacrifices. Whatever sacrifice you thought of, that went directly to service. Guaranteed. Guaranteed. So if you're thinking to yourself, I gotta do some service today because my sponsor told me that I should because I'm in my head and I need to get out and I gotta go do some service stuff. Required, it will be a sacrifice. That's why it feels that way. That's why, oh my God, I gotta go do some service stuff today. Yeah, that's the sacrifice part. That's the thing where you don't want to give it up. You don't want to give it up. And that's why those are the two opposite lanes. That's why you can't do service in selfishness. Paul says it like this. I can give to the poor and take care of the world and all these different things, but if I don't have love, which is the selflessness of it, then it means nothing. In the eyes of God, you can do service, helping the homeless, and you need $1. You can do this as best you can and be hating life. Just I have to do service because my sponsor told me that I would. I had to.
Yeah.
You do it like that, to God, it means nothing.
Is it okay to start out that way, though?
Sure, you're more than welcome to, but like we talked about it before. That's the Old Testament way of getting into the habit, right? Yeah. But it's not necessarily understanding how it works with you. Are you a part of it? No, it could have been anybody else, because you were just a robot. You went in there, you did the thing, and you walked out. Who cares if it was you? Who cares if it was anybody else? There was no connection, there was no understanding of any of that. It's that moment when you do it over and over again. The reason why you have to do it over and over again without even understanding it is because you have to keep showing up. Because when you show up more is when you get a higher chance of something actually clicking. It clicked. Because there are certain people, the first time they do service, it clicks. And they're like, I love this. This is the best thing I've ever done in my life. And they're all about it, all about it, all about it. And there's a bunch of other people that doesn't do that.
Yeah.
You show up, you do the thing, you go outside, you're sleeping for sheep, and you're doing all these things, and you just can't stand your life. But then one day, it all just lines up, and boom, it clicks. And you're like, I get it now. Yeah. I get why you do what you do. But see, you wouldn't have done that if you said, screw this, he's dumb, and this is dumb, and my sponsor's dumb, and you leave. Because by that point, no more opportunities. The reason why we have to act as if is because we have to keep showing up until it happens. We have to keep doing it until that moment, boom, it happens, and you're like, oh, I'm so glad I was here for that. Miggs speaks like this. Anybody know Miggs Whiskey? He's a musician. He goes out and he keeps playing shows. And a lot of times it was for free. And I asked him, it's like, do you think that it's luck? Like to be able to become like a star or something that gets luck? He says, no. He says, the luck comes after the showing up. Because I have to show up all the time. It's basically like putting in more money to bet. If you put more money in, chances are you win. If you only put in a quarter and you don't win that time, and you're like, I'm never going to play this again, yeah, you'll never win because you don't play. He's showing up all the time, so that one time that somebody's there, he sees the producer, whoever it is, and the connections that he makes, by that point, it's like, it's because I showed up. Because I could have not showed up today. And the fact that I did means that I had that opportunity to be able to connect to somebody.
That should be a virtue. Right?
Yes.
That mentality is gold.
That's right. And that has a lot to do with discipline. So, when we think about this concept of gratefulness, we understand this is an action. We understand that it moves in a specific direction as well. We also understand that this is all coming from God one way or another. So, I was going to be able to kind of put this in space. Gratefulness, again, the action, what it does when we do it, when we do the thing, eventually what it does is when we have gratefulness, we end up going to sacrifice, okay? So, grateful, action, sacrifice, okay? After the sacrifice happens, and it's a true sacrifice, and remember, you're giving it to people. When there's a true service, you end up seeing something happening to people. It's this connection that's there. It's this light kind of goes on in somebody's eyes. They've been watching people pass by. Nobody stops, and it gets to a point where we start losing hope. And all of a sudden, maybe nobody's going to come by and help me out because it requires a sacrifice. See, I don't want anybody to sacrifice for me. So they start to lose hope. So when you decide to be grateful, feel that, and do something about it, and you sacrifice as much as it sucks, when you understand and see what happens after that, what you end up noticing and feeling is love. It's that feeling that gets us into a space that makes us feel a little different. It's the reason as to why when you get up and you have to go to a meeting, and then you go, and then something good happens, and after that you say, I'm glad I went. I'm really glad I went. Again, this is not exclusive to people in recovery. We've been doing that in church all the time. I can't stand going to church, I don't want to go there. And then sure enough, it's like Sunday morning comes, you're putting on your clothes and everything. Like, oh my God, I just like don't want to go. And then you go and you talk to one person. And then you come out, you're like, man, I'm so glad. And you're walking around telling people after, it's like, yeah, I went to church today. All proud, like you wanted to. And it's like, no. You know that what ended up happening is that sacrifice led to love. And that feeling of love, that specific thing of love, that is a full-blown experience. And that experience is not matched by anything else. It's the reason as to why what ends up happening is you feel authority over that love. You feel like, wow, I was capable of making something happen. All I had to do was sacrifice and something happened. It's almost as if you feel as though you have like the key. Like you have the good stuff. Like you're the one who knows what love is and who to give it to and how to practice that. So then, understanding that, the gratefulness led to sacrifice, and that sacrifice led to love, and that love led to authority. And that authority feels good. And what's happening when you have that authority? Who gave me that authority? God. You know what that makes me do?
Thank you.
It makes me have gratefulness. This right here happens to be a cycle or a flow. This right here is the blood flow of God. This cycle right here is the blood flow of God. Blood is always considered to be life, right? Life. It's the reason as to why the sacrifice of Jesus, when we talk about the blood of the Lamb, the blood is life. It's a covenant. So important. The idea of giving life is to be able to sustain life for somebody else. The blood flow of God is the ability to have gratefulness, a sacrifice, the love, and the authority of this cycle. So the reason as to why when people don't have gratefulness and start authority of love, they sound like douchebags. These people that walk around, they say, yeah, I believe in Jesus, and I know what love is and everything like that. And they walk around, they have zero gratefulness in their life, you can see it. They're douchebags. They're the ones who are judging you. They're the ones that are telling you, you gotta do this, this, and that. They're talking to you as though they graduated love. Like they're done with it already. Like they don't have to do it anymore. I'm here to teach you about love. And they're coming in and talking like, you know what? I'd rather say poor. Just, stay there.
Hey, my guy. Sorry to interrupt. don't mean to turn the party upside down.
Oh, please,
Can you tell me the polar opposite where it ends in 8? What are
Ends
the
in
words?
8?
What are the words? Yeah, please. An arrow goes down.
Well, I'm not grateful.
Yeah, what is, you have 4 words. What are the 4 words that end in?
You're not grateful, so you're ungrateful.
Okay.
You're selfish, so you're not sacrificing.
And
At
that
that
is
point, you create probably a hate for somebody, which
And
God's
that's
always
why.
seen it that way. And the authority means that
Authority over
you have no authority, you're a slave.
boom. Thank you.
When you see that space and how these things happen, this is not exclusive to kind of cycle to anything. I've said this to people before. The same type of cycle of addiction, bad habits create bad thoughts, create bad emotions, create bad habits. It's a cycle, right? In the same way that good habits create good emotion, thoughts create good emotions, create good habits. It's a cycle. The same cycle is true. It's like a law. A law that follows the blood flow of God would be the opposite, would be the blood flow of the enemy. And the blood flow of the enemy is literally the opposite of all these things. And so when we get ourselves into a space and say, I wonder what I have to do to be able to kind of get into the space of thinking like God, feeling like God, and love, and all these different things, just follow this. Go into a space in which you first practice gratitude. You cannot do any of these things on their own and mean anything. It's not possible. You cannot have authority without understanding the gratefulness, sacrifice, and love. You cannot understand love unless there's gratefulness, sacrifice, and authority to that love. You cannot understand sacrifice if you don't understand your gratefulness, love, or authority. And you cannot understand gratefulness if you don't understand the authority, love, and sacrifice that goes along with that as well. This is fundamental to the way that it is that we live our lives. Because missing one of these turns us into very strange people. Middle of the line people. Lukewarm people is what we end up turning into. Ones who say we believe in Jesus Christ and love and God and all these things, but our actions are very different. We walk around like we own the world and we're better than everybody else, and like, everybody can see that you're not. Everybody can see that you're the same as everybody else. You just threw a title of Jesus Christ over it, and I'm pretty sure that's not the same Jesus that I've read in the Bible. It's those places where we begin to understand that maybe I'm not in the blood flow of God. In case you ever see anybody walking around like this, it's usually because they have bad blood flow. It's because they're sitting in an office all day long, they're not moving or anything like that. So they get up in the morning and oh my God, my life. And you just feel it's like you don't have proper blood flow at all. Like there's no blood going through your limbs. So what's happening is you're becoming stiff. You're becoming stiff. And when you become stiff is very close to, as we've talked about before, water. Water going through us makes us flexible. Right? Life is flexible. That's why when somebody dies, all that flexibility starts to die off and you try to move a dead body. It's like moving like a branch, right? In the same way that if you don't have proper blood flow, you're not going to be able to have a healthy life. If you're trying to figure out, why do I still feel this way in my life? Am I not going to church enough? Am I not going to the magic house enough? Am I not sober enough? None of these things are going to be able to save you. The only thing that's going to save you is the blood flow of God. If you have that proper blood flow going through, you're not going to look like this guy. You're going to be able to be loose, flexible. What do you need? What's going on? Absolutely, sounds good. Sorry, we didn't get your order. Sounds good, that's fine. I'll order something else. I got some time. Oh, it's fine. I'll just eat later. Flexibility, that ability to be able to take life, real life on without being so rigid, like nothing can stop, like nothing should be able to throw you off your track. The ability for life is the ability to be able to understand that you have a good blood flow. A good blood flow for Christ is to be able to understand gratefulness. If you have no gratefulness, you will have no flow. No flow. If you want that flow, that feeling of everything's working out and moving properly, you must have gratefulness. There's no way out of this. There's no way out of this. I'm sure that some of you are thinking like, I'm sure there's a way that I can get it done, And what I'll tell you is send me back in 3 months and let me know how it goes. That's usually my response to most people when it comes to people trying to argue with me about certain things. First of all, you're never going to be arguing with me, you're going to be arguing with the Bible, okay? Because everything that it is that I'm saying is like, it's right here. I have a million scriptures to back that up. It's not me. I didn't make this up. I learned this. I'm just being the messenger. So if you're arguing with me, you're arguing with God. If you have an issue with God, that's your own problem, not mine. So if you're coming to me doing those types of things, I'm going to say, all right, we'll see what happens then. In the next 3 months, maybe you have something better than God. You might. You may be the first person in history that has something better than God. The fact of the matter is that if you want some flow, you have to have some gratefulness. Thankfulness isn't a day. It's not a feeling. Okay? Thankfulness is not a day. It's not a feeling. It's a lifestyle. Gratefulness is a lifestyle. Thankfulness is a lifestyle. Every single day. That's why you can't just We don't have a workout day where you work out one day of the year and you're like, at least I work out on workout day. The same thing about this Thanksgiving. It's like, I'm thankful, whenever Thanksgiving comes around, start thinking about things I'm thankful for. That's just a feeling. You didn't really process that. It didn't become part of who you are. It's just a day. It's the reason why when Christmas comes around, everybody's feeling more giving, right? They're stressing themselves out trying to get to the, because you didn't give all year long, so it's like, I'll get to one. So you're like stressing out, it better be a good one, it better be a big one. Anybody who knows me and has known me long enough knows I don't give gifts on Christmas. I don't. I have nieces and nephews, and sorry, you don't get gifts on Christmas. And the reason why is because you get gifts throughout the year.
Exactly.
I provide you gifts. What do you need? Sounds great. Here you go. I'm not going to lock it in on a day. That's not important to me. What's important to me is that I'm understood as a giving uncle, not an uncle that will give me gifts on Christmas. Right? We have to change the way that we understand this world around us. This world around us is trying to tell us it's good enough that you do this. Right. And God's trying to tell us it's not good enough that you do this. What's good enough is that not that you feel a certain way today, the Christmas spirit, not that you feel that, it's that you embody it. It's that it becomes a lifestyle. And for it to become a lifestyle, it cannot be in a day, it cannot be a feeling. It needs to be GTA every day. Every day. Grateful, thankful, appreciative. Every single day. That covers. It's like you're trying to find a loophole. I don't have to be grateful. I'll be thankful. Sounds great. I have thankfulness in there too. And I have appreciative in there as well. You can't get out of it. You have to be thankful. And once again, how often do we have to do this? Every single day. We must make it a lifestyle. We must make a practice out of it. The reason why I like the fact that I get to talk about this today is because today's the day after Thanksgiving. Everybody was all thankful yesterday and thinking about how great everything is, and man, I'm just so happy to be around these people. I can just about guarantee that some people woke up this morning and started talking smack to the people and the things that it is that they were thankful for yesterday. I love that. Because what that means is that holds a mirror right up against you saying, are you thankful? You sure about that? You sure about that? Were you really thankful? Maybe you don't understand what thankfulness means. Maybe your understanding of thankfulness has to do with that feeling, instead of that full-blown understanding that gratefulness, the ability to sacrifice, the whole entire connection of thankfulness is an action the same way that love is. I don't want to hear somebody just say thank you to me. I also need to understand that I did something for you. If we continue to do this, like this, we're going to take care of each other. We will not have anything that's off the table. We're going to be, it's like, I have everything that I need. Why? I'm part of a circle that understands that sacrifice and value and thankfulness and gratefulness is all in the same space. We take care of each other. We're grateful for each other. And I want to start at understanding the gratefulness that comes from Jesus. Very first thing you want to start with, you're not going to start a person, it usually doesn't happen that way. Not to say that it can't, it just usually doesn't happen this way. The first thing you're going to have to do is understand gratefulness to God. Jesus Christ died for us. God himself died for us because he knew that we weren't going to do it ourselves.
Right.
He knew that we were going to die to ourselves. There's no way. Again, as a good leader, he does it first and says, listen, I'm not asking you to do something I haven't done myself. So then when we begin to try to follow, we say, all right, I'll try to follow Christ. What do you need me to do? Once you have that gratefulness in Christ, everything else begins to fall in space. So do not forget, this is the lifeblood. This is everything. Jesus Christ will, guaranteed, be over your sobriety, over your recovery, over your church, over your family, over your job, over your money, over everything. Jesus Christ, number one. When you make Christ God, number one, everything is just taken care of after that. Show your gratefulness and your thankfulness to God. How do you show gratefulness and thankfulness to God? Taking care of the people, right? We talked about this a couple times tonight. I don't want anybody walking out of here saying like, I don't know, I don't think he was clear on that. You know, make it clear. He wasn't clear. You know, that was very as clear as possible. It's on Facebook. You can go back and watch it again if you need to. But you need to be able to get into a space and keep each other accountable to what gratefulness means. If you can continue to do that, then maybe we can have Thanksgiving every single day, Christmas every single day, Easter every single day. Then get to a space where it's not a day for me; it's a lifestyle for myself. And I would like everybody to be in that space too. Let's stand up and pray this out.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's on Facebook.
Just a reminder, today's Friday, which is nice. We have a weekend to do all kinds of cool things, or, necessities, whatever it is that people do on weekends. Sunday, we get together and go to New Song. The reason why we go to a specific church on Sundays that's different from us is because we definitely believe in unity in the church. We believe that's important, that when people say Jesus Christ, that we're making that connection with other people that are doing the same. Division has been running rampant in the church since the beginning. There's all kinds of books in the Bible that talk about division, which means that it was happening immediately. So it's going to be better for us to be able to show unity to our brothers and sisters that are claiming Jesus Christ as well. So if you'd like to join us in that community and in that unity, we go to New Song at 11 o'clock. It's over on 1010 17th Street over in Santa Ana. And we're all going to be there. Chick's going to be there. I'll be there. And we're going to be celebrating. And we're going to be, eating and worshiping and do all the things together as we do. And then at night, we get together to have a nice big party as we do for Sunday Night Recovery. And it's always a blast. And it's an opportunity for us to be able to meet people where they're at and be able to learn something from somebody. And it's just always, it's inevitable. It's definitely one of those places where you're like, maybe I don't feel like going. And you go, it's like, I am like filled to the brim, that was a lot. There's a lot going on. So fill your time in. Fill your time in. We do stuff all week long too. Mondays we have Bible study at 7 o'clock. Tuesdays we have Bible study at 7 o'clock. Wednesdays for the ladies at 7 o'clock as well. And then of course Friday nights like tonight. So keep going by.
I got a saying will help everybody show up.
Yes. What is it?
Let's do what we got to do, so we don't have to do what we want to do.
There you go. Hey. I keep showing up. Chief has made that clear to me. Like whenever I ask him, how do you get more involved? And I've taken this upon myself. Somebody asks me the same thing. How do I get involved? I tell them to show up.
Right.
Just show up. You'll eventually get to a space where you keep showing up. That God's going to give you direction. It's inevitable. Just keep showing up. And so stay connected as best you can. Hope you guys had a great Thanksgiving, and you were able to learn something, and you're able to grow from that. And you guys have a great weekend. Let's pray. Lord God, come before you and just thank you for this opportunity to come together as your church, your children, and be able to just push what it is that we understand about you into a space in which we can continue to grow. We thank you so much for the ability to be able to be around brothers and sisters that are capable of understanding each other, one, and then being able to be brave enough to be able to try to understand everybody else around ourselves. We ask you to just continue to challenge us on what it means to be thankful and grateful, to be able to put this feeling into action, that you'd be able to put more opportunities in front of us to be able to show gratefulness, and for us to be able to turn that into sacrifice, be able to turn that into love, and be able to own that as children of God, own what it is that you've given to us, which is the ability to love. And we ask you to keep us humble and keep us in a space where we're always learning and more opportunities to learn as well. We love you and we thank you. We ask you to give everybody traveling mercies as they go home tonight and bless their weekends. And in Jesus' name, amen. Amen.